Hey up. Here we are then. The last film in the entire collection. Will it be good? Or will it be terrible? Well, I mean, how bad can it be? It is directed by Jesus, after all. Let's have a look, shall we? Bloody Moon is a 1981 Spanish-German slasher film directed by Jesus Franco, who has done a ton of exploitation films. And looking into his filmography, I realised that I've not actually seen much by the guy. I've definitely seen his most famous one though, Venus in Furs, which I watched back in 2013 I think, late one night on the Horror Channel. I remember quite enjoying it. So let's have a look at this 79-minute long finale, shall we?
Miguel, I'm your sister. Don't look at me that way. Go back to the dance.
Souvenir, señorita.
For such a short film, the plot really does get convoluted here. So we start with a man with a disfigured face who kills a woman in a cabin that's in some sort of villa campsite area, which he is like the heir to, and he gets sent to a mental hospital. Years later, he's released by his sister, who he's having an incestuous affair with. At the camp, at this time, there is some sort of language lesson retreat for women, or for mostly women, really weirdly specific, and girls keep getting picked off one by a masked killer. Is it the same dude as before, or is it somebody different? And will the inheritance subplot ever get resolved? It really packs a lot in this film, but unfortunately the pacing is terrible. By about the half an hour mark I realised I was getting really bored. It kind of crams all the plot into the first 20-25 minutes, then it spends about 40 to 50 minutes just sort of milling about, not really doing anything, and then picks up in the last 5 minutes.
What are you doing? Turn that light off. It's blinding me. Turn it off. Do you hear?
Está there.
I'm going to kill you. You're as good as dead. I will murder you.
The acting and dubbing are terrible in a really fun way, and I found myself laughing quite a lot, especially at how weirdly hurried along some of the lines are. And the gore, for the most part, is missing. Unfortunately, a lot of the scenes that put this in the video nasty list in the 80s have been removed, but we do get a little bit of gore here and there. The editing is really weird. It's got some of the hardest cuts I have ever seen in a film, and it nearly cuts people off mid-word. The cinematography is pretty nice here, and there is a nice use of colour, but for the most part this film is far too dark for its own good.
Angela, I have to speak to you.
They choose you when all you do is throw him in the swimming pool and make a nuisance of yourself.
Antonio would understand. It's only a little fun. Besides, that's the best way to learn a foreign language, in bed.
Well, when all you want to is become Antonio's Spanish-speaking mistress.
Paco, have you seen Manuela and Miguel?
There's not really much more to say about this film outside of it's just kind of a generic slasher with a few twists and turns in the plot and some like weird subject matter such as the incest stuff. Oh yeah, this film is also really sleazy. A lot of nudity and sex in this, and I can't actually show you a lot of the kills because most of the time the girls are topless for them. And there's also this really weird through line where all the girls are raving about banging this one dude. I mean, you could show the sex and the nudity, but someone getting their head cut off by a buzzsaw, oh no, can't show that.
Inga?
And the print for this one is once again terrible. Start as you mean to go on, I guess, and they really did. This is clearly a VHS rip. There's massive flickers, there's these big white dots that appear sometimes, and the resolution is so low that you can barely tell what's happening sometimes. And what doesn't help matters, as I mentioned earlier, is this is quite a dark film. Shame, really. And on the disc, same old stuff that we always get. But let's run through it all together, shall we? For old time's sake. So we get the Vaults of Horror logo at the beginning, incorrectly put there, as per usual. Then we move on to the Claw trailer, which stuck around way longer than I was expecting it to. Then we get chapter select, we get a stills gallery, we get filmographies, spelt incorrectly as filmographies again, and 4 repeated trailers. You all know what they are, but let's go through them. Cannibal Holocaust, Shogun Assassin, Mountain of the Cannibal God, and Psychic Killer. And there we have it. The case for this one is crazy. There's so much text here. All the info is correct, I guess, but it just reads terribly. Here's an example. And this bit made me laugh too. The screenshots are tiny as well, just not a great look all in all. Overall then, this was unfortunately a bit of a boring one. There are a few interesting kills here, and the plot is crazy as hell, and it might interest some people who are looking to really scrape the bottom of that slasher barrel. But don't get this copy. There is a Blu-ray knocking about that's fully uncut by a company called Severin, who I've never heard of before. And that's an odd word, isn't it? And I was thinking, where have I heard that word before? I remembered, of course, Lou Reed says it quite a lot in the Velvet Underground song Venus in Furs, which is weird because obviously Jesus Franco directed Venus in Furs. What a coincidence. Or maybe it was intentional. But that's beside the point. Definitely grab a copy of the Blu-ray if you're interested in this, and avoid this release altogether. It's not worth your time. So there we have it. Every film in the collection, watched and reviewed. So join me next week for the final episode, where I'll give my final thoughts and try and unpick this massive project.